Ladies and gentlemen, when my fellow New Brunswicker Willie O'Ree made it to the Hockey Hall of Fame in the Builders category, done for hockey and for people of color. But it was kind of with a bad taste in our mouths in the media, not because Willie did deserve to be there. He deserved to be there years before. But we kept on saying to ourselves within my circle, what about Larry Kwong? Well, there's been efforts over the last number of years to try to get Larry Kwong into the Hockey Hall of Fame as of this podcast. No go yet, but there's been movement in recent some reports on CBC in his home area of the greater Vernon region, because he's been recognized by NHL teams, by various sports Hall of Fames across Canada, by various people, but still that final recognition is not there. Historic event. Now, Lawrence Kwong, born Ing Kai Zhang, June 7th, 1923, passed away at the great age of 94 in 2018 after a life well lived. Now, he played in numerous pro leagues across the world, but he became the first person of color, or we say non-white person, a person of Asian descent, of course, to skate in the big leagues. He broke the NHL's color barrier when he debuted with the Rangers in 1948, playing a short shift at the end of the third period of his only contests. Although denied much playing time in the NHL, Kwong was a top player in senior hockey leagues outside the NHL throughout his entire career, and battled the likes of Jean Beliveau and other stars for the scoring race in the Quebec Senior League. Now, Kwong came from a Cantonese-speaking family and was also the first NHL player from Vernon and the Okanagan region to make the big leagues. Kwong's popular nicknames included the China Clipper and, of course, King Kwong, which has been used with what he called respect on many levels since he's been a player. Now, after his playing days, he lived in Europe and became the first ethnic Chinese coach of a pro hockey club in Switzerland, helping develop the sport at a higher level in his adopted country. In his later years, he returned to Canada and operated a supermarket following his father's footsteps. Now, not the biggest drink of water, the Ford 56150 was basically best described as a natural athlete. Now, when born in Vernon, he was the second youngest of 15 children born to his Cantonese-speaking father, who had 2 wives. His father had immigrated from China in 1884 for the gold rush in Cherry Creek, BC, but later failed. His father later started farming and then went to the grocery business in Vernon, calling his store Kwong Ying Lung. Larry's Chinese surname was Ing, but decided to take the name of his father's store as a last name in his English name. Now, just 2 weeks after his birth, the government of the Dominion of Canada at the time enacted the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1923, which completely prohibited Chinese immigrants from entering Canada. Kwong faced numerous acts of racial discrimination during his development years in Vernon, as he recalled being denied service at a barbershop because of his ethnic background. There was also various other racist moments he had to overcome. Now, he had to practice ice hockey in frozen ponds in Vernon, and had not played organized hockey until he joined the Vernon Hydrophones when he was, get this, 16. He powered the Vernon side to the Midget Hockey Championship of BC in 39, and then to the provincial juvenile title in 41. As an 18-year-old, Kwong jumped to junior ranks to play senior hockey after a tryout for the elite semi-professional Trail Smoke Eaters, who had won the 1939 Worlds. In Trail, players who made the roster got good-paying jobs at a local smelter, but Kwong was denied a job because of his Chinese heritage. Instead, he went to a nearby hotel to work as a bellhop. In 1942, the Chicago Blackhawks invited Kwong to training camp, but the Canadian government refused to process the documentation needed for him to leave the country. Now, in 1944, Kwong was drafted into the Canadian Army. Now, instead of being deployed overseas, he was selected to join Sugar Colville of the Red Deer Wheelers of the Central Alberta Garrison Hockey League. The Wheelers defeated the Calgary Combines, starring 2-time NHL scoring champion Sweeney Schreiner in the playoff semifinal, before falling to Calgary Curry Army, whose roster included Hart Trophy winners Max Bentley and Tommy Anderson in the final series. After World War II, Kwong returned to Trail and won the provincial senior hockey title with the Smoke Eaters in 46. In that BC final series against the New Westminster Royals, Kwong led the Smokies in scoring, tied with Mike Buckna, and scored the Savage Cup winning goal. Later in 1946, Lester Patrick, the great Rangers management representative, scouted Kwong and was impressed, signing him for the New York Rovers, a farm team of the Rangers. Kwong scored a goal in his debut for the Rovers against the Boston Olympics in Boston on October 27, 46. At MSG on November 17, 46, Shavy Lee presented Kwong with the keys to New York's Chinatown. Kwong went on to lead the New York Rovers in scoring in 48, with 86 points in 65 games. Now, on March 13, 1948, Kwong broke hockey's color barrier by making his NHL debut with the Rangers as the first non-white player in NHL. He wore number 11 and played against Maurice Richard and the Habs in the Montreal Forum. This event came less than a year after Jackie Robinson shattered the baseball color line in the U.S. During this game, Kwong was benched until late in the third period, where he was sent to play the final shift of the game. Spending less than a minute on the ice, he tallied no points in what would be his only big league game. Now, while several other Rover forwards were called to play subsequent games, Kwong was not, despite being the Rovers' top scorer. Kwong became convinced that he would not get an opportunity to prove himself in the NHL with the Rangers and left the Blue and White at the end of the season. In the off-season, he accepted a more lucrative offer to play for the great Valleyfield Braves of the Quebec Senior Hockey League. Now, Kwong went on to have a long and successful career in senior leagues in Canada and the States. Coached by Toe Blake, Kwong was named as an alternate captain of the Valleyfield Braves. In 41, Kwong won the Vimy Trophy as the most valuable player of the QSHL. That year, he led Valleyfield to the league title and then to the Alexander Cup, the Canadian Major Senior title. In the following Q season, 1952, Kwong's 38 goals were topped only by Jean Beliveau's 45 tallies. In his 9-year tenure in the Quebec League, competing against future NHL All-Stars such as Beliveau, Jacques Plante, Dickie Moore, Jerry McNeil, and Jean-Guy Talbot, Kwong averaged better than a point per game. Beliveau, who later became a Hall of Fame inductee, said Larry made his wingman look good because he was a great passer. He was doing what a centerman is supposed to do. Now, eventually, Kwong accepted an offer to play and coach hockey in England, and later, in all places, Lausanne, Switzerland, before he even became fashionable to play in Europe. He expected to only stay for a year, but remained in Europe for 15 years, again, helping develop the Swiss program to levels it had not seen before. I went there to coach ice hockey, and then after 6 years of coaching, I decided to start teaching tennis as a tennis pro. Kwong spent one season with the Nottingham Panthers in Britain, scoring 55 goals in 55 games, before moving to Switzerland, where he led HC Ambri Piotta in scoring as player-coach. With his coaching assignments, he became the first person of Chinese descent to coach a pro hockey team. He later coached HC Lugano and HC Lausanne, and of course, he also became a vaunted tennis coach in Switzerland. Now, Kwong was married to Audrey Craven in Nottingham in 1964. The couple had one daughter, Christina Dean Heinz. In 1972, Kwong returned to Canada with his family to run Foodvale supermarket Kwong Hing Lung with his brother Jack. In 1989, Kwong married Jamie Boyer. He was with her for a second time in 1999. Retired from the grocery business, he lived in Calgary, Alberta for a number of years, where he passed away on March 15, 2018. Now, Kwong has been honored on numerous occasions. A list so long it would take another podcast to do it, but we'll try the best we can. BC Midget Hockey title winner in 39. 1941 BC Provincial Junior title winner. 46 leading scorer in the Trail Smoke Eaters. 46 Savage Cup winner, scored a cup-winning goal. 48 leading scorer in the Rovers of New York's 86 points in 65 games. 48, of course, broke the color barrier by playing for the Rangers. Bing of Vimy Trophy winner as QSHL MVP. Leader in assists and points. Third in scoring. Overall counters, 34, 51, 85. QSHL title in 51. Alexander Cup winner in 51. Second in Q scoring with 38 goals and 52, behind Beliveau's 45. And again, 55 goals in 55 games for the Nottingham Panthers at age 35 in 1958. Awards: 2002 Calgary Asian Heritage Medal Award recipient, 2009 Heritage Award from the Society of North American Historians and Researchers, Son Al, 2010 Okanagan Hockey Groups Okanagan Sports Hall of Fame in the athlete category recipient. September 19, 2013, honor member of the BC Sports Hall of Fame recipient. July 13, 2016, honor member of the Alberta Hockey Hall of Fame. And of course, Kwong's game-worn 42-43 Nanaimo Clippers sweater currently hangs in a Hockey Hall of Fame as part of the exhibit The Changing Face of Hockey, Diversity in Our Game. Honorary appearances: he was honored by the Vernon Vipers of the BCHL in a pregame ceremony in 2009, and again saluted by the Flames of the NHL at the Saddle Dome in a ceremony in that year. Now, Kwong's story is featured in the documentary film Lost Years, A People's Struggles for Justice in 2011, written and directed and produced by Ken DeGree and Tom Bradford, and of course the documentary The Shift, The Story of the China Clipper, a documentary by Chester Sitt, Wes Miro, and Tracy Nagai, which had its theatrical premiere in Vernon, BC in 2014. And of course, King Kwong, Larry Kwong, the China Clipper who broke the NHL color barrier, a biography by the great writer Paula Johansson, was published in 2015. Now, rough stats don't tell the whole story, but we'll cover it. 38-41 with the Vernon Hydrophones of the BCAHA, Trail Smoke Eaters in 42, Nanaimo Clippers in 43, Vancouver St. Regis in 44, as well as the Red Deal Wheelers, ABCHL, VISHL, NNDHL, and of course CAGHL, Trail Smoke Eaters again in 46, with the Rovers of the EAHL in 47-48. Also played again with Valleyfield of the QSHL for a number of campaigns at a more than a point of goal place. Played with them until 55, Trois-Rivières Lions in 56, then the Troy Bruins of the IHL in 56 and 57, with the Cornwall Chevys of the OHA Senior League in 57, 29 points in 33 games, Nottingham Panthers in 58, and with the Yacht Cup, 55 goals in 55 games. Now, if you have a chance, check out the CBC reports this week of our supporters that are trying to get Larry into the Hockey Hall of Fame. Now, the only thing I would think would stop him is because I don't think there's much pull amongst the BC media into the Hockey Hall of Fame. I think it takes all media across Canada to basically say the Quebec media, Ontario, the Maritimes, Midwest, from Alberta, Manitoba, all the way to BC, to respect what he did for hockey. He's not only did it for his own people, he did it for people throughout the States, in Quebec, Switzerland, England. He was the gold standard, the king of his time for hockey. Like most players in the Q League, the original Q League, he brought hockey to a popularity. There was only one step higher. It was the NHL, and when John Beliveau and the whole league was bought out by the Montreal Canadiens, there was a reason. But I don't think the Rangers, it's not for me to say because I don't know what the mentality was, but a player of his talent could have easily been a 20, 25 goal scorer. But what type of racism would he had faced? Sort of like the Aboriginal players that came in the 60s and 70s, like Jim Nielsen. It's kind of ironic, ladies and gentlemen, he gave Jim Nielsen a chance, being an Aboriginal player in the 1960s. Nielsen was a big part of the Rangers, but for some reason he wouldn't give Larry enough of a chance. And at the time, ladies and gentlemen, China was an ally of the United States and Canada. So, but there was still a lot of racism. See, racism holds back athletes also being recognized. If this was a white person, maybe he'd be in already. It would have been 20 years ago, because he did it where other people couldn't, and he paved the way. Any person of Asiatic descent that's in the NHL or even minor pro or at the international level owes a lot to Larry, because Larry not only deserves to be in there, the people who supported him need to be recognized as well. He couldn't have done this alone. He had family, he had friends, he had colleagues, he had supporters within his community, all his supporters internationally in Switzerland and England. But I'd like to know if anybody knows how good of a tennis player he was. From what I heard, he was pretty good, so you can't be a tennis pro unless you know what you're doing. So that's the story about not only Larry Kwong, but the efforts lately throughout Canada via the CBC and other media to get him into the Hockey Hall of Fame. I really think we need a pure veterans committee to get people like him. It's not only Larry Kwong that deserves to be in there. There's a whole bunch of top goalies, forwards, and defensemen from the 20s and 30s that are not in the Hockey Hall of Fame. They must be there. If the NFL has the same way to get the veterans in, that's what we need to do. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we're doing here with our podcast channel, let us know when to like, comment, or subscribe, or share. And don't forget, requests are always appreciated and always highly considered. Have a good day. Bye.